Good evening. This is Maestro Critello with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 3v3 on Estia Province. Seems like a lot of games are happening here these days. Our first player today is Noisy, playing as the Orc Warboss. Orc Warboss is a big, tanky orc who can tank damage, tie things up, do damage, stomp on them, and buff things with Use Your Choppas and Ard Boys. His first teammate is Zato. Zato is playing as an Ultramarines Force Commander. Force Commander is also a tanky melee hero. Not that big, but still a pretty tough bastard. Also ties things up. He can punch vehicles. He can also do quite a bit of disruption, especially with a Thunder Hammer. Next up, we have the eco-friendly Protagonist, playing as a Chaos Lord. This is a Black Legion Chaos Lord, I believe one of the new elite schemes. He is a big tanky melee hero in Terminator armor. Tons of tanky melee heroes. He does a little bit of range damage, a little bit of melee damage, not a whole lot of either to start out though. On the other team, first of all, we've got two Plague Champions. We've got Broodwich. Plague Champion is a Chaos ranged hero to start out. He can become a melee hero, and he also does a lot of healing with Mucus Discharge, his worship, and he can repair vehicles. Our next Plague Champion is Fish. This one is a recolored Death Guard Plague Champion. And then finally, we have another Chaos Lord. This one played by Frozen Vapor, actually just using a stock Black Legion theme. Wow, we've got Zato pushing up pretty hard right here with that Force Commander. He's also got the support of Protagonist, Chaos Lord, so combined, they definitely have a lot of ability to exert pressure. However, the combination of the Plague Champion and the Chaos Space Marines right here is a pretty decent amount of range fire, and the Force Commander is just standing there and taking it, so he gets forced off without really achieving much. Now, eco-friendly Protagonist Chaos Lord is pushing in, really not going to achieve a whole lot, I think. Well, I guess he will stall this capture right here by scaring off the heretics a little bit, but very soon, yeah, he's going to have to retreat. Over here, it looks like Noisy's Sluggaboys got forced off. Noisy making tons of Wah Banners. He likes to make lots and lots of Wah Banners. This Wah Banner right here in a little bit of trouble. Pieces of it are crumpling as it is falling or as it is getting shot at. And there, we've got between a Plague Champion as well as a squad of Chaos Space Marines backed by Heal Worship. I don't think these Shooter Boys are going to be able to really hold. And we have a very fast Bile Spewer upgrade from Broodwich's Plague Champion. So especially the reason why that's going to scare Noisy off is that Noisy, his best chance was to put his Shooter Boys in cover, and cover, normally you get a damage resistance by being in cover. However, flame damage is actually a kind of damage that will actually do, it either does full damage against units that are in cover or more damage. So being in cover is actually a bad thing against a Flamer unit. Havoc already set up for Fish, so it's going to stop that Warboss from approaching forward. Noisy right now with a pretty straightforward build with the Sluggers, the Warboss, and the Double Shooters, so he's not really going to be able to take the Havocs head on. He will either need to get around it, or he's eventually going to need to invest in something like Storm Boys, possibly. Anyway, in the middle, Zato is chasing down the Plague Champion from Fish. He's got Scouts as well as the double Scouts as well as the Force Commander. Both Scouts have grenades. Shotgun Blast is on cooldown, so he might have to use a grenade as a counter, or he's just going to kite, because theoretically, Scouts should be able to kite Heretics pretty much infinitely because they have superior speed. Double Havocs now set up, one for Broodwich, one for Fish. It's going to be very, very difficult for Noisy to approach through all that. Double grenades thrown. What a grenade! I don't know if it was a squad. Yeah, a squad of Chaos Space Marines did get wiped there. I don't think it actually got wiped by the grenade itself, but the grenade did so much damage that then the Scouts were able to finish it off with their range fire. So Chaos Space Marine down for Fish. Meanwhile, Havoc is opening fire, shooting at the Wah Banner. But Havocs, of course, they don't actually do that much damage. They're mostly just for the control that you get from suppressing. Anyway, we have a squad of Shooter Boys that are around the firing arc, but really not going to do enough damage, especially so far. Yeah, Noisy, he's only got one big shooter between the two Shooter Boys. And obviously, another great thing about the Bile Spear from this Plague Champion is that he'll be able to very, very quickly tear down these Wabanners from Noisy. I actually feel like so far this has been a relatively slow game with not that much happening, considering we have a long game ahead of us with lots of good players. But the Warboss charges in. Unfortunately, he's still charging into 2 suppression arcs. Actually, he's around 1. He got around the other, but it doesn't really matter. And on the whole, this is not going well for Noisy. One thing I think we might see from Noisy in Tier 2 is stick bombs, which can be very, very dangerous, or very, very dangerous to a lot of static chaos play. A lot of chaos play that's centered around Havocs and Worship. Anyway, dueling Chaos Lords right here. One gets a very, very nice kill the week off. And it's actually, this is a Protagonist Chaos Lord gets off that nice kill the week. He's probably going to have to go soon. Raptors jump into some Heretics. That can be potentially dangerous in games, but there was just so much support there that those Heretics were in trouble. I think Doomblast was also on cooldown. Now we've got the dueling Chaos Raptors jumping after each other, or rather, one jumps onto a Havoc. But wow, it's in a ton of trouble. Can this Raptor Squad... Oh my god, this Raptor Squad... Wow, I think very, very just barely got out of there alive. I think the grenade barrage from Frozen Vapor probably critical to saving that squad of Chaos Raptors. A fairly unwise jump in. Oh my god, we have a Warboss here. You know, he got the Power Claw, which, I mean, as good as of an upgrade as that is in general, I feel like it's not really what Noisy needs right now. If his Warboss is getting suppressed and not getting in, the Power Claw is not really going to help that. Plague Champion just barely gets out alive, and in part, I think, thanks to the Heretic Worship. Meanwhile, we do have Protagonist seemingly pushing back Frozen Vapor. Do we have a Chaos Mirror in this lane? Yes, we do. And not just a Chaos Mirror, but a Chaos Lord Mirror. He doesn't really have too much time to bash the generators, despite the pressure that he is exerting, however. And now we see a War Truck from Noisy. Oh, wow. So that's interesting as a War Truck as an answer for basically pushing through. It basically worked out because Noisy had beaten every single team player on the red team to Tier 2, and nobody on the red team could actually deal with the War Truck. I wonder if he knew that he had beaten him to Tier 2. He did go for a rather light build in Tier 1, so he really didn't invest much. It's very, very tough. Some players will actually kind of count the resources spent, the units purchased, as a way of gauging whether or not they can like rush to Tier 2 and have an advantage. I generally don't have a very good sense of that. Or at least players will talk about that. They'll say, well, I know he's gotten these upgrades, so I know that he spent this much power, and I should have this kind of tech advantage. Certainly in the moment, I can't do that. Maybe in a replay I can do that, but certainly not in the moment of actually playing the game. But anyway, Noise Marine's about to bash some power right here, unless they get torn apart by some Havocs. And oh no, we've got Heretics flashing, things retreating. Horn Chaos Space Marines, of all things, from the Protagonist, which is sometimes, obviously, Khorne Chaos Space Marines generally less desirable than Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, but sometimes one of the reasons for getting the Khorne Chaos Space Marines is just when people want to go with an overwhelming melee build, and that's usually if you're going to go with an overwhelming melee build, you're going to do it with the Chaos Lord and not other Chaos Heroes. Warboss right here just cuts apart 2 Havoc models. He does so much damage per swing with that Power Claw. And wow, the Warboss is also only level 1. Plague Marine's actually now in a ton of trouble. They do get knocked down by the, well, Sluggaboys get knocked down by the Plague Marine's Death Explosion. I mean, if the Plague Marines did not have that Death Explosion, they would have undoubtedly gotten wiped. Because they got really close to being wiped, even with those Death Explosions. We're seeing some very, very aggressive Bile Spewer play from the Plague Champion. Just walking forward, and I mean, he's going to do a ton of damage, tank a lot more, although the Shooter Boys are also reinforcing. Very, very nice. He used that is the Aura of Decay ability from the Armor of Pestilence, just doing knockback, in an area around the Plague Champion. So I like that aggressive Plague Champion play. It's a little strange, but it's working. Anyway, now we have Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines from Frozen Vapor. So Frozen definitely going for a more balanced composition than Protagonist. Protagonist, meanwhile, though, at some point he lost his Raptors. And we have a Force Commander from Zato with the Bubble Shield, or technically it's called the Iron Halo. But it's, for some reason, colloquially, we call it the Bubble Shield in play. Armor of Alacrity of Well, and Armor of Alacrity definitely less common than the Artificer armor. My god, that was hard to think of. Still can certainly have its uses, although I don't think it's the... I think if you're going to go Iron Halo, I think you should go Artificer armor because of the better synergy it has with that. Whereas I think the Armor of Alacrity does not synergize well with the Iron Halo. But Armor of Alacrity does give you both a passive speed boost as well as a sprint ability that can especially give your Force Commander some very, very good ability to snipe models, and especially heroes on retreat, because he can really good at changing. These Noise Marines kind of getting toyed with right here, getting blasted by infiltrated scouts. However, scouts are out of their energy, so at this point, if they stay in there any longer, they will lose to the Noise Marines. Now, over here, I think the Heretics are not really in a good position unless they use Touch of Nurgle. I was going to say, Tier 2, I mean, Tier 2 Heretics are not really looking as strong against Sluggo Boys once the Sluggo Boys get their Knob, since the Knob really does a huge amount to make Sluggos a much better squad. Meanwhile, this is Frozen Vapor making a very, very hard switch coming over here with his Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, Raptors jumping in, leading the charge, and something right here is stunned, possibly several somethings, and this is Zato definitely getting forced off. Red Team doing well in this engagement, but a grenade goes off, kills one of these Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, and the rest get knocked down. So I think that was a pretty good play by Frozen Vapor to switch lanes, but it looks like he's lost a Chaos Lord right here. He's also lost a squad of Heretics. We have a Chaos Dreadnought on the way from Frozen Vapor. No, from Eco-Friendly Protagonist. Meanwhile, we have some more Bile Spewer play. This Bile Spewer has been doing very, very well for the Plague Champion. It's interesting how the Bile Spewer can actually be such a powerful weapon for the Plague Champion when normally Flamer-type weapons are not really considered that great for actual combat purposes. They're usually more utility weapons for bashing generators, killing defense buildings, and being used as anti-garrison. But we see the Plague Champion right here really just straight up using this as a combat weapon and being very aggressive with it. Meanwhile, over here, we have some Plague Marines or some Noise Marines that manage to get around the Havocs, suppressing them. It looks like Protagonist is doing pretty well here, but yeah, at this point he's going to have to back off. Frozen Vapor has preserved his Raptors. Now they have their Aspiring Champion. I think a lot more interesting things are going on right here with the Warboss about to use his big stomp. 2 Chaos Space Marine models went down. I mean, the Warboss is really exceptional with that Power Claw. You really cannot let him get into melee once he has that Power Claw. I mean, kiting, really not that great against the Warboss unless you can really keep him, like really prevent him from ever actually getting into melee. Grenades going off, because even when he just gets one swing, he does a massive amount of damage from that Power Claw. Which is, of course, the great advantage of weapons that, or melee weapons that fire much more slowly, even though fire's not right, but they swing much more slowly, or spear much more slowly, or impale much more slowly, because they will do so much more damage just in a single hit. And sometimes that's all you can get. Sometimes you just get a single hit. Sometimes, of course, there are advantages to faster moving melee weapons, such as like the Chaos Lord's Lightning Claws, because then that can synergize well with things that will work well with that, such as the Icon of Corn. But anyway, we have a big Chaos Offensive coming towards the contested VP. This is, well, a Chaos Offensive because every player on the red team is a Chaos player. But I think Frozen Vapor's even over here making a very hard lane switch, catching these scouts, not really paying attention, trying to capture the point. And that's a pretty nice, because it kind of forced off those scouts early on before the engagement really started, but a massive Plasma Cannon shot does the same to those Heretics. Plasma Cannon shot goes in. but Friendly fires his own scouts. Wartruck's still alive from Noisy. He does not even have extra armor for that. Needs to be very, very careful. Another beautiful plasma cannon shot. I've noticed that Zato likes to get plasma cannons. And, I mean, of course, a well-managed plasma cannon is absolutely devastating. Anyway, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Bloodletters are going to teleport in, and the Wartruck does go down. But we still have a massive blob of Orc boys unloading their file. Yes, Noisy! Oh, Noisy has quad shooter boys. I did not notice that until just now. He must have had it for longer than that, though. He's getting quad shooter boys, just a massive amount of range fire. Noisy sometimes with those crazy builds. Force Commander goes down for Zato. And we do have Chaos Space Marines from Fish with no mark running in, forcing melee. They will actually do pretty well at that. However, they are going to get focused down. Look at the damage they're taking, despite the heavy armor resistance against piercing. That was just way too many shooter boys. And wow, I didn't realize we were this far into the game already, but Broodwich now has a squad of Chaos Terminators. I think that's a fantastic choice. It's pretty much the perfect choice against all these shooter boys right here, especially if he can get the auto cannon. That being said, we have Assault Terminators, Ard boys activated on him by the Warboss, and that's going to make them really, really tough, and we have a pretty nice counterattack by the blue team. Plasma cannon shot. Plasma cannon just keeps firing, and this, oh no, this Havoc squad in a lot of trouble. It is probably going to get wiped, and yes, that Havoc does get wiped. Noise Marine's also in trouble, probably going to lose at least one model. I think they would be really, really lucky to get out of there with all three. Might even lose another one. Chaos Space Marines, Khorne Chaos Space Marines, pretty good in retreat, because they do have that faster speed, speed 6. They're even trying to do range damage. They're trying to get another model, do get another model, and wow. And Shooter Boys also very, very quickly bashing the generators. Now, unfortunately, the Shooter Boys, although there are 4 of them, I mean, they're going to get countered very, very hard by the Chaos Terminators. And if the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines cannot draw the fire, and they can, like, maybe let the Terminators draw the fire, the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines can also do a ton of damage to the Shooter Boys. Stern Guard veterans, meanwhile, over here. Hellfire rounds loaded in. They're going to do a lot of damage to the Bloodletters, so they phase out of the warp to make themselves invulnerable. Wears off, but now they're relatively safe. Here comes the Cast Lord, though. This one with the Blood Maul. Now, this is another thing. This is a slow-moving weapon, so it will do a huge amount of damage with each swing. Khorne Dreadnought for Protagonist. He's going to Tier 3. Most players in Tier 3 at this point, though. Noisy, Zato, Frozen, Broodwich. Fish is not, however. Double Doom Blast on all these heretics. A sync kill from the Dreadnought actually means it kind of does less damage to that squad of heretics. However, this Chaos Dreadnought now in a bit of trouble, being chased down by a Chaos Predator. I think the Chaos Predator will probably be careful not to overextend too much, and is probably instead just going to focus on the Chaos Lord right now. Meanwhile, we've also seen the Mantle of Hate from the Chaos Lord. It gives them the Drain Life ability. Might finish off the Plague Marines. Comes very, very close to it. So Drain Life, a pretty good ability for dealing with single entities. And meanwhile, we've got another Cast Lord with the Blood Maul, but this one has the Harness of Rage and the Dark Halo, a full-on tanky build from Frozen Vapor. Meanwhile, the Lightning Claw Assault Terminators apparently take down the Plague Champion for Broodwich. He might, at this point, want to switch out. Switch out the Bile Spewer for the Plague Fist. Definitely going to have to move back at this point. But the Chaos Terminator is still really, really a good choice, because there's still not really a good source of damage against them. Certainly not at range. Maybe in melee if the Lightning Claw Assault Terminators get in range. But they're just going to do so well in terms of doing damage and tanking damage at this point. However, Plasma Cannon Shot is going to go in. Does hit the Predator, does about 140 damage. Predator needs to be very, very careful. Going to take maybe another Plasma Cannon Shot. Well, didn't seem to hit it that much. But yeah, Terminator's doing pretty well here. Meanwhile, Chaos Predator from Frozen Vapor needs to, is getting Speed Worship to get out of there. No, no, I'm right. But the Bloodletters cannot take on that Dreadnought. I think the Chaos Predator needs to keep moving back, and yeah, the Chaos Heretics need to be careful as well. Meanwhile, what do we have going on here? Corncast Space Marines being very, very brazen, just charging right in, and I think this Shrine of Corn, I was going to say I think it's going to go down, but looks like Fish backed off. Chaos Predator, ooh, this is a Nurgle Predator. I think that's also a very, very good answer to the big blob of Shooter Boys. But here is an Imperial Abyss. The Chaos Terminators need to teleport out of there. He's not paying attention, losing far too many Chaos Terminators in that, and the Chaos Predator goes down from the las cannon. So yeah, he really needed to teleport out of that abyss immediately. So Broodwich, he definitely lost another squad. I think he lost a squad of heretics. And this autocannon Havoc also just unloading in. Flash gets on the way, Land Raider on the way, another Predator on the way. So VP's pretty even at 229 to 204. 204. Why am I saying 204? Anyway. Las Cannon Predator in a terrible position. That thing is... well, it's going to be lucky if it gets out of there alive. And, of course, the Speed Worship also helps. But being chased down too much by the Chaos Dreadnought, needs to keep fighting the Chaos Dreadnought. Needs more Speed Worship as well as repair support. Don't path block it with your own units. This Dreadnought is also not being... we need Plague Marines to snare that Dreadnought. Snare that Dreadnought, please. Is this thing... alright, that's going to go a long way to helping this Dreadnought survive, or to help the Predator survive. In fact, now the Dreadnought is screwed. And we do have a Plague Fist, Plague Champion, and yeah, the Dreadnought does finally get overextended. Warboss in here, in against a whole ton of things. Are we going to see a Stomp? Is the Stomp on cooldown? I think that was... well, I don't know. Warboss is on him. I think he should use his disruption abilities. Maybe charge to get out now. Yes, and in fact he does that. What a smart player. Knows exactly what he's doing. Knows what I'm thinking too. Plague Marines are really exposed here. They're not going to do a lot of range damage, so they really don't want to be just in like a straight up fight against all these Shooter Boys. Now we've got Flash Gits as well. And if the Flash Gits upgrade to Blastas, that will finally be a good answer to these Chaos Terminators. Because it's actually pretty surprising how just compositionally, how strong of a position these Chaos Terminators have been in. Certainly against the quad Shooter Boys. I'm going to say it again. I definitely said it in another cast, but I think Chaos Terminators, ranged Chaos Terminators, I think are fantastic because of just what they do compositionally for Chaos. They really fill in a lot of compositional gaps. Anyway, a lot of things are happening right here. Assault Terminators from Zato are standing around too much, just taking damage and not doing stuff. Alright, they finally decide to approach the Plague Marines. Heretics, oh no, Heretics, what are they doing? They really need to be careful because they will get eaten alive by those Terminators. Meanwhile, the Plague Champion from Fish right here, has he stunned the Terminators? I don't think he has. And we have another Ardboy, so Noisy saving all of his Ardboys. There is another Imperial Abyss. Oh my god, oh my god. Took out 3 of the Shooter Boys. 4 makes it 4. My god, my god. That one. Oh, Noisy is not happy about that. But anyway. Plasma Cannon shot knocks over the Terminators. Plasma Cannon will do bonus damage, so that is pretty good against the Terminators. So Noisy loses every single one of his Shooter Boys to that Imperial Abyss. Very, very well played. And ooh, but there are the double Blastas. Now we suddenly have... now the Chaos Terminators are in a pretty bad composition. Because now they will take a ton of bonus damage from the Flash Gits, and I actually think they won't do that well against the Flash Gits. If it was just Flash Gits with their starting Snaz guns, yeah, they would beat those. Anyway, Chaos Predator from Frozen Vapor running around, or driving around, kiting the Force Commander as well as that Chaos Lord. Force Commander level 4, what else do we have? A level 6 Warboss, that makes a lot of sense. He was kind of leveling up slowly at the start when he was getting suppressed all the time and never really doing anything. But I think ever since the suppression teams have either become less useful or got killed or converted into other weapons, the Warboss has been able to do a lot more. And now he's level 6. Oh, I see what he's doing. I think I see what he's doing. I think he's trying to get him in a position where he might be able to take out this Cast Predator. This Cast Predator, and not really going to be able to outrun this Warboss. So we need some very, very fast support. And he can, I think he can save it if he brings out all these units and starts shooting at the Warboss, because he's got like, wow, he's got double Cast Terminators? No, we've got Cast Terminators from 2 separate players. And yeah, this Warboss now pushing a little too hard. Luckily, just enough, well, more than enough range firepower to force him off. But I mean, exerting so much pressure now that the blue team has a double cap and a VP lead, 214 to 130. Commandos from Noisy. I feel like Commandos they may have been like getting phased out or something, probably because of flash kits, to be honest. Although Commandos, they actually do a lot of DPS, so they're actually really, really good for damage, although flash kits are still better than them at that. Commandos obviously have much more utility. A shit ton of things are going on right here. Raptors go down, taking a plasma cannon shot. And Commandos are actually even buffed from Retail because they have standard range, whereas in Retail they had reduced range. But still, overshadowed a bit by flash kits, but they do have utility. A lot of things going on right here. But oh no, this Land Raider Redeemer I think in a bit of trouble. Taking now las cannon shots, probably some regular, some Corn Predator shots as well, and both of these things are going to be doing a lot of AV damage. But the las cannon Devastator is also setting up, so that's where those Predators need to be careful and need to back up, so they won't be able to finish off the Land Raider. However, we did have a decap, and we have another Predator right here, but this one, well, this is going to be mostly an anti-infantry Predator, not going to do a whole lot of damage to the Land Raider Redeemer. Meanwhile, all of these red things, this red team stuff, my god, we have a lot of Predators. Double Corn Predators from Protagonist. So double Corn from Protagonist, we have the Nurgle Predator from Broodwich, and then we've got the split build, the Corn and the Tzeentch. Now this Land Raider is definitely going to go down. It's really overextended right here, and I think Frozen Vapor did very, very well to pull his Predators back a little bit, but can he pull it away from this? He needs to get away from the Abyss. So another Abyss, but unfortunately the Abyss not so good against vehicles if they can just drive out of the way. But now we've got the Corn Predators from Protagonist pushing forward. Will he make a play for Frozen's Predators? And oh no, the Cast Terminators. Alright, these Cast Terminators are now giving up on life. And yeah, they just get taken out by that. The Cast Assault Terminators also now taking a lot of damage. They teleport. They're still right in front of the firing arcs. Well, not firing arcs, but they're just still in the range of the Predators. Warboss charging in. This is getting crazy. Warboss switched weapons to the Bang Bang Hammer. That's funny. But I mean, the Bang Bang Hammer gives you a wall-like effect with each attack, so I guess he just wants to try to support all of his other squads. My god, this game is crazy. We've got all the Predators pushing up. This Predator is definitely going to go down. So one Predator down. I think the Sluggo Boys are going to go down and retreat, though, and these Predators now have Lightning Claws. This is a Nurgle Predator. It is very, very tough, but it's being chased down by many different Predators, and the Corn Predator is not going to be able to save it, I don't think. So Plague Marine's going to come out there. Yeah, they definitely want to scare off the Predators right here. While the Predators from the red team want to get repairs. What a game this is so far. Double cap for the blue team, except for the red team going for a cap right here. They need to put something on the point. Tzeentch Cast Space Marines get on the point while everything else is going on, and some touch of Nurgle to help. Grenade goes in on the Noise Marines. What a crazy push right here, and a lot of things lost. Zato's actually the one hurting more than anyone else, even though it felt like the blue team was the one really, really pushing forward in that engagement. Anyway, here are, man, and these Corn Predators, they must be doing a ton of damage. They don't do as much cannon damage as the las cannon Predator, although I think they hit infantry more reliably. And they get a buff to their Sponson Bolters, so this thing must have crazy damage output against infantry. But a missile goes in from some Plague Marines. This Predator now possibly in a little bit of trouble. We need the Corn Cast Space Marines from Protagonist to tie some things up. He should go for those. Well, he needs to be careful though. He's going to go into this Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord, though, might use a Sweeping Doom. Yes, he does. Is that way? Alright. Double Predators. Oh, no. Corn Predator going to go down. This Predator does... This isn't good. This isn't good. Yeah, that Predator couldn't afford to just stay there with repairs. It really needed to back up. Since any kind of... most of the missile attacks from Plague Marines as well as missile attacks, those do about 130 damage, and that Predator had less than 130 hit points. Triple Predators right now. Nurgle, Korn, and Tzeentch. Anyway, we've got some tank busters from Noisy. Noisy loves his tank busters, if you didn't know. Noisy loves to play every single race in this game. Anyway, 178 to 87, another Imperial Abyss. They've really been saving up for those Abysses. I don't think it actually wiped any squads those time. Oh, but the Pain Boy goes down in retreat. Another Imperial Abyss. Absolutely crazy. Meanwhile, we have a very brazen Chaos Lord, I think, trying to maybe go for a back cap, but we have the Plague Champion turret right here, the Plague Champion's Heavy Bolter turret. Look at the massive firing arc it has to really, really shut down any attempts to ninja cap this VP. If the blue team wants to go for this VP, they actually need to make a concerted push against this turret. And suddenly, just a short lull in the action. Predator still opening fire, actually really, really hurting these Chaos Space Marines. They cannot just stick around there, even under heal worship, while getting shot by a Predator. That Predator, I mean, the damage over time from... The damage from the heavy bolters is just very steady over time, very steady DPS, but that cannon, that thing does its damage in bursts. Keep shooting its cannon. The Predators are moving in. Heretics exploding. Level 4 Heretics, but there is Touch of Nurgle from Fish's Heretics. However, they... Is it Touch of Nurgle? No, wait. I think I was totally wrong. I think it was the Aura of Decay from the Plague Champion. Plague Champion now running in, trying to go after the tanks. He's going after the tanks. He's punching tanks. But he's got to get out of there. Oh, no. He's going to get... Yeah, he's going to get killed in retreat. So he goes down. Meanwhile, over here are the triple Predators, and one of the amazing things we're seeing in this game is so many things leveling, so many things going down. I think a Stern Guard squad just went down. Orbital Bombardment catches the Heretics right on, catches the Warboss, even though I think that's friendly. So mainly catches the Heretics, and that will probably wipe the Heretics. So some... Oh, and a Predator goes down for, man, I don't even know who, but a Predator went down for the blue team. That's what I know. Last Cannon Predator, way overextended, going to go down from melee from the Khorne Chaos Space Marines, or maybe it was even a shot from this Predator. Wow, Predator's going down all over the place, and yet another nuke wiping a bunch of stuff. The Warboss is level 9, oh my god. Switch back to the Power Claw. I still think, yeah, that's probably just a better choice. Another Ardboys, he's just going to chase down this Nurgle Predator, but the Nurgle Predator, so tough. Level 4 Nurgle Predator. I think this thing has actually been... I think this is the same Nurgle Predator that's been alive pretty much ever since it came out. Some kind of call-in right here. Well, more Terminators. That's only Terminators have that particular visual effect. VP's 105 to 84 with a red team attempting a decap over here. And yeah, this Nurgle Predator is still alive. Level 10 Plague Champion from Broodwich. Right in the middle of things right here. Oh, gonna take out that Chaos Lord. We've got a level 5 Plague Champion right here. Level 5 Chaos Lord. Level 7 Chaos Lord. Level 5 Force Commander. And the level 9 Warboss. Land Raider Redeemer for Zato. Blue team really, really running short on... They're really, really running short on units, though. Although Zato has a lot of resources in the bank, so he could really put something down on the field. He could put literally anything out on the field. So he needs to buy something, because especially in the late game, you really can't afford to float too much, especially because you might not have... If you start building something late, that could actually be the difference between winning and losing. I think touch of Nurgle Heretics get wiped. Stayed in there for a little too long and they get wiped. Now it's actually a double cap for the red team. They actually managed to get a decap on, not only a decap, they are getting the full cap on the contested VP, and we have a triple cap for the red team. Man, there are so many things going on in so many places, can't even tell what's the best place to follow things. We do have some, wow, Noisy has been using his globals on Zato's units all game. Use your choppers on the Assault Terminators. Another squad of Assault Terminators chasing down this Predator, and it does not really have great support. However, if the Chaos Terminators come back here, that will be a lot of damage. A lot of things going on, but it's a double cap for the red team. It's 2-1. Oh no, these Assault Terminators are now in a ton of trouble, really overextended, trying to push hard for this hero Predator that just hasn't died. Anyway, I think we're going to see... Alright, Assault Terminators can actually just tank the damage from the Heavy Bolter turret. They will at least get a decap, and the blue team has managed to decap their natural, and now they're going to start getting it back with these this autocannon Terminator squad. It's going to be a really, really close call, but the red team is still the one with the massive armies. Plague Marines, Plague Marines, Plague Marines! And this Land Raider Redeemer is probably going to go down, but I think it's just trying to buy time. Trying to buy time for the blue team. Blue team now has the double cap. If they can hold on, they will get it. Can the red team manage to get back out there? They had the lead. They even had the triple cap so late in the game. Oh no, I think the blue team is going to take it. They might at least... Well, red team is going to get their natural. They really don't have much time. If they can get out here, if they can get to the contested VP, they can do it, because this Land Raider, really does not have that much health left. But they need to move. They have no time. Alright, we have a squad of Zinj Chaos Space Marines going for the point. They might be able to get the decap. No, not with the Khorne Chaos Space Marines coming. Their only option, really, is this VP right here, and they need to move out quickly and get something on the point. Unfortunately, I think Broodwich spending a little too much time in base repairing. Oh my god, another... But now I think they're pretty much out of time. At 10 VPs, I think that's relatively the threshold when they need to put something on the point just to get the decap, but at this point, it is very undoubtedly going to go in the blue team's favor. My god, this is ridiculous. Alright, that was an absolutely, unbelievably epic game. So I hope you really enjoyed it. Have a good night.